Hello everyone. Today's topic of discussion is the 3D part of geometry, and in this basically we'll be discussing the surface area and volumes of six 3D figures, that is cube, cuboid, hemisphere, sphere, a right circular cone and a right circular cylinder. So this is basically like one of the easiest thing that you'll be doing in geometry, because we'll be only discussing the right figures. Okay. So they're going to be simple formulas. You need to memorize them and you need to simply use them in whichever question you're going to get. Okay. And fortunately, we have to discuss like only six figures. Okay. All right. So we'll be starting with the first two, that is a cube and a cuboid. Now, a cuboid is also known as a rectangular prism. It's a rectangular prism. Basically, we have two types of prisms. One is a rectangular one is a triangular one. So this one is a rectangular prism, and if in case they use the word regular rectangular prism, then regular rectangular prism is the word for cube. That's what the difference is. Okay. All right. So we're gonna start with cube first of all. So I'm gonna consider this cube. Let's first of all name the vertices A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. So this cube basically consists of 8 vertices. The same thing happens for cuboid also. Okay. So they both consist of like 8 vertices, 6 faces, and 12 edges. So vertices are like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay. Faces is like basically a face. So A, B, C, D is one face, A, B, F, E is another face, D, C, G, H is another face. That's known as a face. Okay. And edges are basically the line segments, like AB is one edge, AD is another edge, DH is another edge, FG is another edge. Those are known as edges. So both cube as well as cuboid, both of them consist of 8 vertices, 6 faces and 12 edges. Now let's consider the edge length of cube to be A. And as far as cuboid is concerned, let's name it with PQ or S U TVW. Let's consider the length of the cuboid to be L, breadth to be B, and height to be H. Okay. Alright, now let's start with cube. So the very first thing is how to calculate the total surface area. So total surface area is basically area of all the 6 faces. Okay. Now if you think of the 6 faces as an individual face, if you look at them one by one, rather than looking at them as like 6 faces, if you look at one by one, then you'll realize that one face having edge equals to A, so the area will automatically be A square, because area of a square is equal to side square, and one face is basically acting as a square when you talk about this term cube. So for one face it's A square, so for 6 faces it will be 6A square. So the total surface area will be equal to 6A square. For one face it's A square, so for 6 faces it will be 6A square. When you come to cuboid or when you come to rectangular prism, the total surface area is going to be twice LB plus BH plus HL. You can think of this in this terms that you basically have two faces having dimensions length and breadth, two faces having dimensions breadth and height, and two faces having dimensions length and height. Okay, so it's basically like made up of three different type of rectangles. One rectangle having LH, one rectangle having LB, one rectangle having BH. So rectangle having dimensions LH, area will be L into H. Another rectangle having dimension BH, area will be B into H. Another rectangle having dimension LNH, that will be L into H. So it will be simply LB plus BH plus HL, and since two faces for each one of them, so 2lb plus 2bh plus 2hl, therefore it's twice of lb plus bh plus hl. Okay, that's how you get it. Next thing is the lateral surface area. So when you talk about the lateral surface area, you basically do not consider the roof and the base. You do not consider the roof and the base. So this will become 6a square minus 2a square, which will basically be equal to 4a square. In case of excuse me, in case of a cuboid, like you will not consider PQRS and UTVW. Basically you will not be considering the faces made up of length and breadth. Okay, made up of length and breadth. So in this case this will be twice of LB plus BH plus HL minus twice of LB, which will be twice of H into L plus B. This will be the formula for the lateral surface area of the cuboid. Okay, last one is the volume. So for volume, it's going to be simply a cube, that is a into a into a. It's three dimensional, so multiplying all the three dimensions. In case of cuboid, it's going to be simply L into B into H. Okay, these are the three basic formulas which you need to remember. Now apart from this, now let me remove this. There are two more things which can be asked in the exam. The first thing goes by the name of face diagonal, and second thing is the body diagonal. Now what's a face diagonal, what's a body diagonal? Let's try and understand it. So let's start with cube first of all. This cube is basically made up of 6 faces, right? So pick any of the 6 faces. So I'm going to pick up ABCD. Okay, now if I talk about diagonal of this ABCD, first of all ABCD is a square, right? AB is A, BC is also A. So it's a square. Now if I want to have a diagonal, I need to connect A with C or B with D. I need to connect A with C or B with D. So whenever you talk about face diagonal, it's basically like diagonal of one of the faces. It's basically diagonal of one of the faces. So in case of cube, it's going to be simply, you can use the Pythagoras theorem. It's going to be simply under root of a square plus a square, which will simply be equal to root 2a units. Which will simply be equal to root 2a units. Okay, now all the faces are exactly the same. All the faces have equal edge length, so all of them are gonna have face diagonal equal to root 2a units. But when you come to cuboid, you basically have 3 different type of faces. Okay, let me like roughly draw all of them. Let's say this is the one having dimensions length and height. Let's say second one having dimensions length and breadth, and third one having dimensions height and breadth. These are the 3 types of faces. Now you need to calculate the diagonals for the 3 different types of faces separately. So for the first one, which consists of length and height, this is going to be like under root of L square plus H square. For the second one, it's going to be under root of L square plus B square. Again, basically using the Pythagoras theorem, nothing else. And for the third one, it's going to be simply under root of H square plus B square. So in case of cuboid, it matters for which face you are talking about, but in case of cube, it's simply root 2a. Okay, it's always root 2a. Now let's talk about body diagonal. Body diagonal, it's basically like going from one of the vertices to the diametrically opposite vertices. Like for example, if I talk about cube, then I'm basically talking about EC, or you can say BH You can also talk about AG, or you can talk about DF. Okay, these, connecting any one of them is going to give you the body diagonal. Okay, so in this case it's going to be a three-dimensional thing. Okay, it's going to be a three-dimensional thing. So you can again use the Pythagoras theorem for 3 dimensions, and this will simply become under root of a square plus a square plus a square, which will basically be equal to root 3. So the body diagonal of a cube having side a units, it's going to be root 3 a units. It's going to be root 3 a units. Okay, now when you come to cuboid, then the body diagonal will become under root of L square plus B square plus H square. Exactly the same concept. It's 3 dimensional, so use the Pythagoras theorem for 3 dimensions. It is going to be under root of L square plus B square plus H square. Now interestingly, this body diagonal is basically the longest dimension that you can have inside a cube or a cuboid. Okay, this is the longest dimension that you can have inside a cube or a cuboid. So they can ask you this question in another way. Let's suppose you have a room which is in a shape of a cube, let's suppose having dimension 10 meters. What is the length of the longest rod, longest steel rod that you can fix inside this room? The length of the longest rod will be equal to root 3 into side. It will be equal to root 3 into side. Alright, let's move on to the next two 3D figures. The next two are sphere and a hemisphere. These two are simple, relatively simple. So let's consider sphere having radius r and a hemisphere, again let's say we have radius equal to r. Okay, so when you talk about sphere, when you talk about the total surface area of a sphere, total surface area of a sphere is equal to 4 pi r square. Total surface area of a sphere is equal to 4 pi r square. So in another way you can say that a sphere is basically made up of 4 circles. A sphere is basically made up of 4 circles. So we know that area of one circle is pi r square. So for 4 it's 4 pi r square. So area of the sphere is basically equal to 4 pi r square. Okay, now when you talk about sphere, there is no such thing as curved surface area or lateral surface area of a sphere. So it's simply the total surface area. Okay. Another thing that they can ask you is the volume, which is basically equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube, and this you get with the help of integration, which again effectively is not part of our curriculum. So just need to remember two things. If they ask you anything regarding sphere, then there are only two things. One is the total surface area, which is 4 pi r square. One is the volume, which is 4 by 3 pi r cube. These are the only two things you need to remember. Now when you come to hemisphere, or that is half of a sphere, so there are three things. One is the total surface area, one is the curved surface area, another is the volume. Now when you talk about the curved surface area of a hemisphere is equal to 2 pi r square, and the curved surface area is basically this portion. I'm highlighting that with the blue color. It's basically the area of the curved portion, the curved part. That is basically equal to 2 pi r square. When you talk about the total surface area is equal to the curved surface area plus area of the circle at the top or at the bottom, whichever way you want to consider it. Basically the area of this one circle. So it's going to be 2 pi r square, which is the curved surface area, plus area of the circle considering the radius to be r, it's going to be pi r square. So 2 pi r square plus pi r square, which is basically equal to 3 pi r square, which is equal to 3 pi r square. Okay, the last thing is the volume. So the volume of a hemisphere having radius r is simply half the volume of the sphere. So that is 2 by 3 pi r cube. That is simply 2 by 3 pi r cube. So these are the three formulas for hemisphere which you need to remember. Okay, let's move on to the last two figures. The first one is the right circular cylinder, and second one is the right circular cone. Now I'm intentionally using that word right. It's for the fact that angle between any two dimensions is equal to 90 degrees. So if you're going to draw a height, and the radius, then the angle between the height and the radius is equal to 90 degrees. That's why it's right circular cylinder. That word right is because of this. The angle between the height and the radius, that is equal to 90 degrees. So again, three things: total surface area, curved surface area, and the volume. Now if you want to understand cylinder, now how do we calculate the total surface area, curved surface area, and the volume? What you can basically do is you can cut the cylinder, let's suppose from this edge. You can cut open the cylinder from this edge, and when you're going to open this up, it's going to be a sheet of paper. It's going to be a sheet of paper. You can also imagine the other way around. When you're going to roll this sheet of paper, it's going to be a cylinder. Okay, now this sheet of paper is going to have two dimensions. One is 2 pi r, that is the circumference of the circle, and another is the height, which is h. Now what will be the area of the sheet of paper? The area will be 2 pi rh, right? That's length into breadth. It will be 2 pi rh. So when you talk about the curved surface area, that is the area of the curved part of the cylinder, that will simply be equal to 2 pi r into h. That will be 2 pi r into h. When you talk about the total surface area, we need to add the area of the top circle and area of the bottom circle. So that will simply be equal to 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r square. So this is basically what the difference is between the curved surface area and the total surface area. Okay, so you can also like simplify this, the total surface area, and this will become 2 pi r into r plus h. But bottom line is it's nothing but area of the curved part and area of the circle at the top and area of the circle at the bottom. That nothing else is there. Next is the volume. So for volume, it's going to be pi r square h. So how can you understand this instead of using integration? If I talk about one circle, if I talk about area of one of the circles, it is equal to pi r square, right? So in order to have a cylinder from a circle, what you're basically doing is you're keeping one circle on the top of others. So one circle, two circles, three circles, four circles, five, so on and so forth up to height h. So area is pi r square multiplied by that third dimension, that is the height. So it's going to be pi r square into h. Okay, so the last thing that we need to discuss is a right circular cone. Again, I'm using that word right for the fact that the angle between the height and the radius is again equal to 90 degrees. So this is the height, this is the radius. Now using this height and radius, the vertical height and the radius, we can also calculate the slant height, which is this one. So you can use the Pythagoras theorem because the angle between H and R is equal to 90 degrees. So let's represent slant height by the letter L, and we can say that L square is equal to H square plus R square, or L will be equal to under root of H square plus R square. If you want to calculate the total surface area, that will simply be pi r L plus pi r square. If you want to calculate the curved surface area, then that will be pi r L, and the volume is given by the formula 1 by 3 pi r square h, or in other terms you can also remember this as the volume of the cone is 1/3 the volume of the cylinder having the same dimensions. Okay, so these are the formulas that you need to remember. The proofs are not required, just the formulas, that's more than sufficient. Okay, now using them we'll be solving some couple of questions so that you can bridge the gap between the theory part and the question part. Alright, so let's start with question number 1. So pause the video and try this question, please. Alright, let's see how we can solve this one. So volume of a cube or a regular rectangular prism is 64 cubic centimeters. Find the length of the longest diameter of the cube. Now the volume is given to us as 64. So if I'm going to consider the edge length to be A, then I can say that A cube will be 64, which will give me A is equal to 4. That is, the edge length is equal to 4. Now we need to find the length of the longest diameter. So length of the longest diameter will be equal to root 3 times A, which will be equal to 4 root 3 units. Which will be equal to 4 root 3 units. And that's your answer. That's it. Okay, let's move on to question number 2. So pause the video and try this question, please. Okay, so we have a rectangular prism. Now they're not using that word regular, so probably it's going to be a cuboid. Area of 3 different faces are 20, 24 and 30. Okay, now we know that in case of a cuboid we have 3 different type of faces. So let's say this is my face number 1. This is my face number 1. This is my face number 2. And this is my face number 3. So length, breadth, this is going to be length, height and breadth, height. And the areas are given as 20, 24 and 30. So let's say that this is 20, this is 24 and this is 30. So LB is 20, LH is 24 and BH is 30. You need to solve 3 equations, 3 variables. You're going to get values of LB and H. So let's consider this to be equation 1, let's consider this to be equation 2, this to be equation 3. If I'm going to do equation 1 divided by equation 2, I'm going to get B by H is equal to 20 by 24, and in the simplified form it can be written as 5 divided by 6. which means I can say that B will be equal to 5h by 6. Now using the value of B and putting that in the third equation, so I'm going to get that 5h by 6 into h is 30, which is going to give me that h square is 36, which means h is equal to 6. Now we can't take it to be negative 6 for the fact that it's height, it's a dimension, it can't be negative. Okay, so h is 6, which will give you B as 5, and once B is 5, then L is 4. So we have all the three dimensions. What's the volume? Now volume of a rectangular prism is L into B into H. So the volume will simply be 4 into 5 into 6. That's like 120 cubic units. And that will be our final answer. Alright, let's move on to question number 3. Okay, pause the video and try this question, please. Alright, let's try this one. So I have a right circular cone and a right circular cylinder having the same height and equal volumes. So if I talk about volume of a cone, that is 1 by 3 pi, let's take it to be r1 square into h1, and volume of cylinder as pi r2 square into h2. Okay, I am considering r1 to be the radius of cone, h1 to be height of cone, r to be the radius of cylinder, h to be the height of cylinder. Now they happen to have same height, which means h1 is equal to h2, and they also happen to have equal volumes, which means volume of cone is equal to volume of cylinder. So I can say that 1 by 3 pi r1 square into h1 is pi r2 square into h1. Cancel h1 h1, cancel pi and pi. I'm gonna get that r1 by r2 whole square is 3. So r1 is root 3 r2. Or you can say that r1 over r2 is root 3. So this is the relationship that you need to know, or that we need to have in order to have equal volumes, given the fact that they have equal heights. Alright, let's move on to question number 4. Okay, pause the video and try this question, please. Alright, let's see what we can do with this one. The figure below shows a right circular cone placed on a top of a right circular cylinder. The volume of cylinder is 1911 cubic meters. Okay, so we can consider the radius to be r. That will be same for cylinder and cone. Let's consider the height to be h1 for cone and height to be h2 for cylinder. So I can say that pi r square h2 is 1911. What is the total volume of cone and cylinder given the height of cone is equal to that of cylinder? Now what we need to find out is, we need to find out the volume of cone plus volume of cylinder. This is what we need to find out. Now, interestingly, we don't have to solve this, it's quite simple. The two radiuses, that is the radius of the cone and that of a cylinder, are equal because cone is placed exactly on top of the cylinder, and it's given to us that the heights are also equal. The heights are also equal. Now I know that volume of a cylinder is equal to pi r square h and that of a cone is 1 by 3 pi r square h. Now if the radius and the heights are equal, then I can simply say that volume of a cone will be equal to 1/3 the volume of cylinder. Will be equal to 1/3 the volume of cylinder. So if I take the volume of cylinder to be x, then volume of cone will simply be 1 by 3x. So volume of cone plus cylinder will be x plus 1 by 3x, which will automatically be 4 by 3x by taking the LCM. Now x is volume of the cylinder, which is already given to us, which is 1911. So it will simply be 4 by 3 into 1911. So this is 6, 11, 3. This will be 637 into 4. So 8, 14. It will be 2548 cubic meters. It will be 2548 cubic meters. You don't have to calculate what is radius, what is height, it's not required. You just need to know this simple concept. Okay, pause the video and try this question, please. All right, let's see what we can do with this one. So we have a cuboidal tank. So I'm going to draw the front view of this. And it has a length of 6. And it's going to have a breadth also. So let's just say this would be the breadth, which is 5. And we're going to have a height which is given to us as 4. Okay, this is what the tank is going to look like. Just need a bit of imagination. Okay, and this is filled up to 25% of its capacity. Now filling it up to 25% of its capacity, that means 1/4 of its capacity, which means basically 1/4 of its height. Okay, because whenever we're going to start filling the water or any liquid in a tank, the only thing that's going to change is the height. Okay, so it's going to be filled up to, because we know that the volume of this is going to be L into B into H. It's a cuboidal tank, so it's going to be LBH divided by 4. So that is 6 into 5 into 4 divided by 4, which is equal to 30 meter cube, which is going to be 30 meter cube. And the question is, how many spherical pebbles having 10 millimeter diameter must be dropped in the tank such that the weight of the water increases to 50% of the total height. Now, if the height increases to 50%, then that means the new height will be 4 divided by 2, that's 2 meters, and the new volume, which will be V new, that will be LB into H by 2, where H is the total height. Okay, initially it was 25%, which is 1/4 of the height. That's why we did LB into H by 4. Now in this case it's 50% of the total height, so that's LB into H by 2. So this will simply become 6 into 5 into 4 by 2. So that's going to be simply 60 meter cube. That's going to be simply 60 meter cube. So I can say that the total change in volume, the total change in volume or the total increase in volume will basically be equal to 30 meter cube. Will basically be equal to 30 meter cube. Now this change in volume is because of the spherical pebbles that we are dropping inside that tank or whatever cuboidal shape that we have. Okay, so I can say that this change in volume, that is 30, that should be equal to total number of pebbles represented by n multiplied by volume of one pebble, which is 4 by 3 pi, and I need to calculate the radius in terms of meters because till now I have been doing calculation in meters as my unit, so I need to convert this 10 millimeters into meters. So 1000 millimeters is 1 meter, so 10 millimeters, that is basically dividing it by 100, will be 0.01 meter. So 4 by 3 pi into 0.01 whole cube. So the value of n will be 30 into 3 divided by 4 pi into 10 to the power 6. How did I get 10 to the power 6? This is 0.01 to the power 3. 0.01 to the power 3, it's like 10 to the power minus 2 whole cube, which is 10 to the power minus 6. So if it's going to go the other side, then it will be 10 to the power 6. So now we just need to solve this. So that will be 30 into 3, that is 90. 90 divided by 4, that is 22.5, which is again divided by pi. Let's take it to be approximately 3.14. So that will be 7.16 into 10 to the power 6 pebbles. These many pebbles of, okay, I think I made a mistake somewhere. I think, okay, they have given 10 millimeter as the diameter. All right. Okay, so I made this one small mistake. I need to know the radius. Apologize for mistake. My radius will be, everything is correct, it's just that I need to divide this 0.01 by 2. This is where I went wrong. This is 0.01 divided by 2 whole cube. Okay, so 2 cube is 8. So it's going to be 30 into 3 into 8 divided by 4 pi into 10 to the power 6. So whatever answer we got, that was 7.16 into 10 to the power 6. So you just need to multiply that by 8. Okay, because we're just multiplying the numerator by 8. I forgot that division by 2 because 10 millimeter is the diameter, it's not the radius. The formula is like 4 by 3 pi r cube, not d cube. And what is radius? Radius is diameter by 2. So that will be approximately 57.32 into 10 to the power 6. These many pebbles you require. Okay. Anyways, I hope that the concept is clear. It was just one small calculation error on my side, but I hope that the concept part is clear. Like, okay, that's more important. All right, let's try one more question. So pause the video and try this question, please. All right, let's see what we can do with this one. In the below figure, a cone of height 16 units. So this height is 16 and diameter 10. So this here it's 10 is placed on top of a cylinder having diameter 6 units as shown. Okay, so I can say that diameter of cylinder is 6, which means radius of cylinder is 3, and diameter of cone is 10, which means radius of cone is 5. All right, so I can say that if I'm going to connect this, then this here it's basically 3. Okay. Let's name them also. This is A, let's call this point B, let's call this C, let's call this D, this is E, and this is F. Find the volume of the cylinder if the base of the cylinder overlaps to the base of the cone. Alright, now how can we solve this question? Now it's a right circular cone, it's a right circular cylinder, because we don't have anything else in our course, so these have to be right figures. Now if you look at this diagram carefully, and if you try to represent this 3D diagram as a 2D diagram, you would realize that ADF and ABC would basically be two triangles. ADF and ABC would be two triangles. So I can draw something as you're gonna have A, B, D, this is C, and this is F. And since these are like right figures and the base of the cone overlaps with base of the cylinder, so this BC is going to be parallel to DF, because DE and DF lie on the same line and BC is obviously parallel to DE, so BC would also be parallel to DF. Now if BC is parallel to DF, then I can say that triangle ABC would be similar to triangle ADF. Triangle ABC would be similar to triangle ADF for the fact that angle A is common. This angle ABC, let me name this as 1, will be equal to ADF, let me name this as 2. And angle ACB, let me name this as 3, will be equal to angle AFD, which is equal to 4. And of course, angle ABC is 90 and ADF is also 90, so those two have to be equal. These are like right figures. And whenever you talk about right figures, I told you that angle between the two dimensions is always equal to 90 degrees. Alright, so if ABC is similar to ADF, so you can go on saying that AB divided by AD is equal to BC divided by DF, which is a very important conclusion, and that is you can go on saying that, or let's not generalize it, let's keep it as it is, that it's easier. So we get AB divided by AD is equal to BC divided by DF. Now let's plug in the values. AB is, I do not know. AD will be the height, which is given to us as 16. BC is given to us as 3 and DF is given to us as 5. So AB will basically be 48 divided by 5, and that will basically be equal to, I think, 9.6. That will basically be equal to 9.6. Okay. Now if AB is 9.6, then I can say that BD, which is actually the height of the cylinder, will be equal to 16 minus 9.6, which is equal to 6.4 units. Which is equal to 6.4 units. Now if you want to calculate the volume of the cylinder, you can do that. It's going to be pi r square h. What is r? That is 3 square into h, which is 6.4. The rest of the calculations you can do. That's not a big deal. Okay, so that's going to be like 9 pi into 6.4, so that's 54 plus 3.6, that's 57.6 pi cubic units. 57.6 pi cubic units. That is all that you have to do. Alright, so this is more or less everything that you need to know as far as the 3D part of geometry is concerned. You simply have right figures. So you simply need to know the formulas and you just need to know how to apply them by using the basic concept and basic knowledge and understanding of the question. Nothing else is required. Okay. So thank you so much guys for watching the video. I hope you have learned something new. You don't get too many questions as far as the 3D part is concerned, whether you talk about SAT, GMAT or GRE. You don't get too many questions from the 3D part because it's relatively simple in comparison to the rest of the geometry, but this is more than sufficient. Okay, so thank you so much guys for watching the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that for more videos and exam related content on GMAT, GRE and SAT. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, if you have any difficulties regarding 3 exam, you're more than welcome to ask anything anytime. And if you're looking for personalized classes, you can always connect with us either through the email or through the WhatsApp. All right, thank you so much guys, keep watching and keep learning.